The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in streaks of crimson and gold as the great hero Hercules stood at the edge of a quiet forest. The air was thick with a strange stillness, and even the birds seemed to have fled. Before him stretched a shadowed path that led into the valley of Nyx, a place whispered about in fearful tones, said to be home to the Serpents of Night. For weeks, villages nearby had been swallowed by darkness each night, their fires snuffed out, their dreams haunted. Crops withered, rivers turned cold, and people trembled, unable to sleep. The elders spoke of monstrous serpents born from the tears of the goddess Nyx herself, creatures that devoured light and fed on fear. Hercules, ever the protector of humankind, had come to end their reign of terror. But as he stood there, feeling the forest's eerie hush, he couldn't help but sense that this battle would not be like any other. He tightened his lion-skin cloak and stepped forward, the ground soft beneath his sandals. With each step, shadows stretched and twisted, curling toward him like fingers. The trees leaned closer, whispering warnings in the wind. "Turn back, son of Zeus," they seemed to say. Light cannot conquer what was born of night. But Hercules walked on. Hours passed before he reached a clearing bathed in dim starlight. In the center, a pool of ink-black water shimmered, reflecting no stars, no moon, only darkness. From its surface rose three massive serpents, their scales glistening like wet obsidian, their eyes glowing faintly blue. Their voices merged into one, a whisper that crawled across the clearing like mist. "You should not have come, Hercules." "I go where I am needed," Hercules replied, his voice steady though the chill of fear brushed his spine. "Your darkness has stolen hope from these lands. I will bring back their light." The serpent's laughter was soft and cruel. "We do not take hope. We show humans what they truly are, fearful, weak, lost without their illusions of day." With a roar, one serpent lunged. Hercules dodged, his club flashing through the air, striking its side. The creature screamed, a sound like metal tearing. The other two struck from opposite sides, fangs gleaming, coils slashing through the mist. Hercules fought fiercely, each swing of his club thundered like a storm, each strike shattering the ground. But for every wound he dealt, the serpent seemed to grow larger, darker. The more he fought, the thicker the night became. His strength began to wane, his breath turning ragged. The pool rippled, and shadows rose from it like smoke, clutching at his arms and legs. Then he heard something, soft crying. Hercules turned his head, and in the edge of the clearing stood a small girl, barely more than a child, holding a lantern that flickered weakly. Her eyes were wide with terror. "What are you doing here?" he shouted, blocking a strike from a serpent's tail. The girl shook her head. I don't know. They came for me. They said they'd take away my fear if I gave them my light." Her lantern dimmed even more, the flame trembling like a dying heart. Hercules's eyes widened in understanding. The serpents did not only devour the night, they fed on despair, on the surrender of hope. "Stay where you are," he called, but one serpent turned its gaze toward her. With a hiss, it slithered across the ground, its coils sliding silently over the earth. Hercules sprang forward, muscles straining, and threw his club with all his might. It struck the serpent squarely between the eyes. The creature reeled, roaring, but instead of falling, it split into two smaller serpents, both writhing and laughing. Hercules stumbled back. He realized brute strength would not save him here. The Serpents of Night were not mere beasts, they were born of shadow and sorrow, impossible to destroy with force alone. He dropped to one knee, exhausted, the weight of his task crushing him. Around him, the darkness deepened until he could barely see his own hands. "Hercules," the serpents whispered, their voices echoing from every direction. "You are strong, but you cannot fight what lives inside every heart. You, too, have shadows. You, too, fear the night." He closed his eyes. They were right. Despite his strength, there were nights when even Hercules felt alone, when the weight of his past labors, his mistakes, his pride, all pressed upon him like chains. He had seen the cruelty of men, the betrayal of gods, and had often wondered whether kindness could truly survive in such a world. And in that moment, the truth struck him: not all battles were meant to be won by strength. He took a deep breath and called out, "You are right. I have darkness within me. But I do not fight to destroy it, I fight to keep it from swallowing the light." The serpents hesitated, their eyes flickering uncertainly. Hercules turned to the little girl, whose lantern now barely glowed. "Child, the flame, do you still feel fear?" She nodded, tears running down her cheeks. "Yes. I'm scared." "Then hold your lantern high," he said gently. "Let your fear stay, but don't let it steal your light." The girl hesitated, then raised her trembling hands. The tiny flame inside her lantern wavered, and then steadied. It grew a little brighter. The serpents recoiled, hissing. Encouraged, Hercules rose to his feet. "Light is not born from the absence of darkness," he said, his voice firm now. "It exists because of it. Even in the deepest night, one act of courage, one spark of kindness, can bring dawn." As he spoke, he reached for the girl's hand, guiding her forward. Together they stepped toward the serpents. Each time their light touched the ground, the darkness hissed and retreated. The shadows thinned, and faint outlines of trees reappeared. The serpents lunged again, their forms writhing in fury, but their bodies began to unravel into smoke, unable to withstand the glow of that small, steady flame. The largest serpent screamed, its voice shaking the air. "You cannot kill the night. We are eternal." Hercules nodded solemnly. "Yes, but so is the dawn." With that, he lifted the girl's lantern high. Its light burst forth, pure and golden, not from fire but from something greater: hope, courage, and the quiet power of kindness. The glow swept through the clearing, through the trees, through the valley itself, burning away the darkness. When the brilliance faded, the serpents were gone. The pool was clear again, reflecting the stars above. The girl stood beside Hercules, her face glowing with relief. "Is it over?" she asked softly. Hercules looked up at the sky, where the first hints of dawn touched the clouds. "For now," he said. "Night will always return, but it can never win, not while even one person chooses to light a lantern instead of surrendering to fear." They began walking back toward the village. As they went, Hercules noticed flowers opening along the path, as if waking from sleep. The air warmed. Birds began to sing again. When they reached the village, the people gathered around in awe. They saw Hercules, weary but smiling, and the little girl holding her lantern, a beacon of golden light. An elder stepped forward. "Great hero," he said, bowing low. "You have slain the monsters of night. How can we ever repay you?" Hercules shook his head. "The serpents were not slain, they were changed. The darkness they carried is part of us all. But remember this: it cannot harm you if you keep your hearts kind and your lights alive." The people nodded, though few truly understood. But the girl did. She turned to her neighbors, holding up her lantern. "When you're afraid," she said shyly, "don't hide your light. Share it. It makes the night smaller." And so they did. That night, the village glowed brighter than it ever had before, not from torches or fires, but from the lanterns lit in every home. Days turned into weeks, and Hercules prepared to leave. Before he went, the girl ran up to him, carrying a small lantern of her own. "You helped me find my light," she said. "I want to give you this, so you never forget yours." Hercules knelt, accepting the gift with a smile. "I will carry it with me always." As he walked away, the wind carried the faint laughter of the girl and the songs of the villagers. He looked back once, watching their lights flicker across the hills. He realized then that true strength was not in his arms or his might, it was in the kindness that inspired others to be brave, to hold on to hope even when the world was dark. And though Hercules went on to face many more trials, he never forgot that night in the valley, the night he learned that even a hero's greatest power was not to fight the darkness, but to teach others how to shine through it. Far away, beyond the edge of the mortal realm, the goddess Nyx watched the dawn rise over her valley. She smiled faintly, her starry eyes glistening. Even the night, she whispered, must learn to share the sky. And somewhere deep in the shadows, where the serpents of night had once lived, tiny motes of light drifted like fireflies, remnants of the kindness that had conquered fear, proof that even in darkness, compassion could bloom eternal. The legend of Hercules and the Serpents of Night spread across the lands, told and retold for generations. Parents spoke of it to their children on stormy nights, teaching them that courage was not the absence of fear, but the strength to choose kindness in spite of it. And whenever a flame flickered in the dark, someone would always remember the hero who fought not just with his might, but with his heart, and the little girl whose lantern taught even the gods that light, once shared, can never truly die.